Well, on the cover of the book, the Times of London is quoted as that Erik ten Hag is a tactical genius and that he's a perfect fit for Manchester United. And I think that's a very good characterization of him, because that is really his strength. He's brilliant. His tactics are outstanding, and uh, he is incredibly sharp, knows exactly how to play, can adapt himself to his opponent very, very well. So football-wise, he is outstanding. Um, I think as a person, also he's really a really interesting person, really interesting character. He's really although some people say he's a little bit rough at the edges in his interaction with people, that's probably a little bit more true about the younger Ten Hag. I think he has really developed, but he's really a person of character. He really deals with people in a very respectful manner, treats them well, interacts with them not just as pieces on a chessboard, but really as human beings, is interested in their personal lives, interacts in a good way with them. So I think both football wise and personality wise, psychologically, if you want to call it, he is very, very strong. Yeah, again, somebody asked me, said, "Are you surprised?" And I said, "Well, yes and no. I am not surprised by the result that he is getting. The only thing that surprises me is the speed with which they're coming. You know, of course, I mean, you can say maybe so far so good. Don't get too excited quite yet because we're not there yet. But I must say that taking into account the relative mess that Manchester was in, I think he has been doing very, very well. He's really apart from those first two games, of course, that where he was uh, didn't do well at all. He has made a very good adjustments, has adjusted his strategy very, very well because I think he probably started a little bit too quick. I think that these games it happened that way because he wanted to immediately try to implement his own style from the beginning and then realize, wait a minute, this doesn't work. I have to back up a little bit and make some adjustments. And then he did that and he started to take into account more where the club was really at and to be more pragmatic, which he's really capable of doing. And then little by little, the progress started to come. Yeah, off the pitch also, if you read the comments of the people that are working with him at the club, he people seem to really be fond of him. He has a very good manner, a very good way of interacting with people, from the guide, from the groundsman to the lady who serves the coffee in the cafeteria. People seem to be fond of how he treats them. So I think all round, I think it's a good performance so far. Somebody else asked me earlier, and another interview asked me the question about Ronaldo. I mean, you also, I noticed you have a question about Ronaldo. And they asked me, do you think that he was being disingenuous, that he was somehow kind of pretending to want to work with Ronaldo, but all along he was just kind of scheming to get him out? I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that is simply not Ten Hag. Ten Hag is really kind of what you see is what you get. Um, he is fair with any player, whether that it's a superstar like Ronaldo or whether it's a completely young player like he's in Spain right now with all these 17, 18-year-old kids, and he treats everybody the same, respectfully, honestly, openly. He listens to people. He is uh, some people say that maybe he should have made more adjustments because Ronaldo is such a high level person. Maybe I'm not sure about it, but in principle he is. Yeah, he deals with every person in a very very even keeled and fair manner, and that's so what you see in the family background that certainly plays out on the pitch as well. I personally think that he dealt with it very well. I've heard people like Roy Keane, for example, say that, oh, you should have been more lenient, you should have made more room for a superstar like Ronaldo. I don't know, maybe, perhaps a little, but in essence, I think he dealt with him fairly. He said, look, we're a team, we got to work as a team, and somehow you got to fit in that team. Even though you are Cristiano Ronaldo, you still have to work in the context of a team. And I see that borne out now. Also, I mean, of course, I like you probably do yourself. Also, watch the World Cup, and you see what happened with Portugal. You know, like Ronaldo is on the team and it doesn't work, and then I forgot this player's name, this young forward that was
Ramos.
playing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, he's playing to rub it in even more. He's playing in Ronaldo's place, and he scores a hat trick. So what the Portuguese coach did was exactly the same thing what Ten Hag did. So I think he was fully justified by saying, "Look, okay, Cristiano, we respect you, we like you, you're a great player, but you got to sit on the bench for a little while, okay, because this is not your time at the moment." So I think that Ronaldo, some people said that he gave that notorious interview with Piers Morgan intentionally to kind of force the powers that be at Manchester to let him go. I don't know, maybe whatever his plan or strategy was, I don't think that was a very good move. And I'm sure that Ten Hag was probably a bit offended by that, you know, especially saying that Erik Ten Hag didn't respect me. I don't believe that at all. I think he dealt with him very. I mean, there were the images of him interacting him on the training ground, and you could see he was kidding around with him, hand on his arm, you know, and so forth. I think he dealt with him in a very fair manner, and unfortunately, that wasn't really returned in the same manner from Ronaldo. That was my impression, at least. Absolutely, absolutely. I think that because I think people can see it. People are not dumb. You know, people are of course there are some people that have a very strong positive bias towards Ronaldo, and so whatever Ronaldo does is sacred and so forth. So I guess those people will never be convinced that what Ten Hag is doing is right or is fair or reasonable or in the best interest of the team in Manchester United. But I think that the people that are a little bit more neutral and they look at how this is all panning out, how this is working out, they say, look, you know, he has dealt with him in a fair manner. He has given him his chance, and someone has really worked out. And in the meantime, look how his team is developing. So I think that has really strengthened his hand and his credibility as a manager because those people. I mean, I can only imagine how difficult that must have been, being under so much pressure, being a new manager in a team like Manchester United, in the situation where Manchester is, with all this expectation, and on top of that, having to deal with somebody like Cristiano Ronaldo, who insists, you know, I gotta play, I gotta play, I gotta play, and if you don't let me play, then I don't like you. So that to manage all of that all at the same time in the way that he has done that, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty amazing. I think that probably even the people that let's say were more on the Ten Hag side will probably also have been a bit surprised by how well he has handled that. Well, of course, it's changed tremendously. People still maybe they kid him a little bit about it and so forth, but in a much different way, in a good-natured way, because now they realize. I mean, some people even at an earlier stage said, look, guys, tone down a little bit because we should judge him on his performance on the pitch and not how he pronounces his Dutch vocabulary, for crying out loud. So even at the beginning, some people said, this is just not recently, but certainly now people are looking at him in a very, very different way. I mean, it's interesting that my book actually has come out in England on the 1st of December, and exactly simultaneously it came out in the Netherlands in a Dutch version, also on the 1st of December. And it was great because I didn't negotiate that deal myself directly because the rights are all done through Random House to Pingham Random House. So they found Dutch publishers, but it was a whole bidding war. There were four major publishing companies that said, we want to have it. No, we want to have it. So for me, of course, that was very nice. And I guess for Random House also. And in the end, we got a really good contract with a top-notch company in the Netherlands. But it shows you how much interest there is in him. He's really is a very popular person, and everybody wants to know, oh, what is he doing now? What is he doing now at Manchester? Everybody's following it. Everybody's very, very interested and knows that he's a top-notch coach, manager.